up, everybody? Welcome back to the BreakZone. My name is JT.
And I'm Lawrence.
And we're just about to get started with the top 4. But before we get started, we wanted to show everybody the awesome boxes that you get as a player here. So, this is the Vincent deck box. These are amazing. They look super cool. As you can tell, they're like the glossy type. They're really awesome. It's a mini deck box that comes in. And what's really cool is it actually has that little Crystal Cup logo here, as well as the full art. So when you open it, it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, it actually states exactly which event it came from.
Exactly.
Right here.
It has the event type and the logo for each event, which is pretty freaking sweet. And if you guys weren't here yesterday when we made the announcements for the next Crystal Cups, let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So. As you can tell, these are the next Crystal Cups coming in, and for May 26th and 27th, we'll be here at Toronto, Canada, and for June 23rd to 24th, we'll be at Kansas City, and following with June 29th to July 1st in Orange County, and August 2nd to the 5th at Indianapolis, where we'll have 2 Crystal Cups here, Gen Con. And the September Crystal Cup, the date is still to be determined, but the place is going to be in Seattle. So, and if you were here yesterday, we actually made the announcement of what you're going to get. So, this is an awesome Crystal Cup box from Boston. However, if you happen to be here at Toronto, you're actually going to see this box right here, which is pretty cool.
O3 Shiva is a very popular card that's used by Ice.
Right.
Just like Vincent was for Earth. And yeah, I think a lot of people would love to have that box.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool box. Super awesome. And if you happen to be in KC, you're going to get this box here. So, it's a great card, great art from the Dissidia series. But these boxes will all have their own personal logo for Toronto and Kansas City, just like the one that we have here for Boston. So we wanted to give you guys a closer look at these boxes, and they're really, really cool. So if you guys get a chance to get hyped about these boxes, because we love them. All right,
they're just amazing.
They're awesome. The artwork is amazing.
High quality stuff, man.
High quality stuff.
I wouldn't want to put my neck in any other box.
Right, and I like it because they're smaller. All right, and sometimes a lot of players, they want to carry a whole lot of cards with them, and it gets a little bit cumbersome. These are perfect for a couple of decks and a couple of changes that you want to make. So get hyped, players. I mean, these boxes are great. It's just one of the few things that Square does for all of the players and community. It's really great. It's just really nice. You know, just more incentive for you to join in a lot of these events.
Correct.
Awesome. We're just about to get started here, and we're going to go ahead and head over pretty soon to the semifinals for the top 4. Everybody here in the top 4 is going to get a bid to the North American National Championship. So everyone's pretty stoked right now, but now it's all about a matter of pride. Who's going to take home the Crystal Cup? We're going to take you on that trip in just a little bit, so stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the BreakZone, while we give you live coverage of the top 4 here. We're at the quarterfinals. All of these players, like we said before, have made the cut for the top 4 here at the Boston Crystal Cup. So all of them will be going to nationals as an invite-only event for the national championships here in North America. And we're really glad you guys are here to join us as we give you live coverage of the Boston Crystal Cup here for Square Enix. And we have 2 very, very good players here, starting off with Matthew Okimoto here on your left at our 8th seed, and Colin Rupert, as you've seen earlier, on our 5th seed. And it looks like the action has already started with Matthew Okimoto pitching a Hecaton Kier to play into a Monk. So
normally, if it was a mono ice matchup, then it would definitely be a matter of like the play style of the player, if they want to be more aggressive, less aggressive, and perhaps a little bit of what they happen to draw. But the fact that Okimoto is playing Ice Earth, there are some really strong outs that he has that Colin does not have access to. So let's see if consistency wins over all the other tricks that Okimoto is going to come out with.
Colin is just doing a really, really strong play here. He's playing a no-value Jill, but he pitched 2 more cards to play a Celeste, locking out that singular Earth backup that Okimoto has. That's going to cause him to lose another turn. I think that's really going to hurt him.
So what Okimoto perhaps wanted to do would be play a three-drop backup. In this case, it's not going to be a CP efficient play to do that. Otherwise, he'd have to pitch 2 cards instead of doling 1 backup and pitching a card. So let's see what he decides to do instead.
Oh, good play here. He's going to go ahead and pitch the Devout and a Gipal so that he doesn't lose any CP. Still keeping on point here and keeping pretty well in efficiency with Colin here, though I'm not quite sure he wanted to play that Devout so early.
He perhaps wanted to play 3rd turn after the second backup. But in this case, I mean, his hand was forced.
Yeah, his hand was forced here. He's going to take that first turn. He's got a Gipal, so he's got a little EX burst, but no forwards here to take advantage of that. It looks like Colin's going to go ahead and dole his Joe here.
Is it perhaps a lock?
Pitch another Devout. He's going to go ahead and play the Moogle. He's going to search for a 13 character.
Most likely Sarah.
He's probably going to grab that Sarah for a discard, attacking Okimoto's hand. And it looks like that's what he's thinking about playing. And he's doing some little math here. That sounds about right. He's going to go ahead and get that into his hand and see if he decides to play it or if he's going to go ahead and pass turn. If he plays this card, he's going to be up 2 forwards, same number of backups, and has already discarded a card. Will be discarding a card from Okimoto. It looks like he's going to go and pass that turn. Just gives Matthew a good chance here to kind of catch up a little bit. He's already taken a point of damage. Let's see how he plays this right now. Kind of brutal that he has 2 Devouts in the first few hands.
I don't think it's too bad because, okay, in terms of what really happened is that, yes, you play Devout, you have to pay full cost for it, but then Devout gives you value back later down the line.
It does.
So in that sense, he's not too far down behind. And playing the Duke Lark is going to put him out on top. If he were to play the exact same copy of a forward to match Collins, his would be larger.
Yes, it doesn't look like he's going to do that. He's okay to take a couple points of damage here.
His backup line is getting pretty full, though.
His backup game is getting good. I like that. He looks like Colin's going to go and press that advantage. He's going to go ahead and Okimoto's going to take another point of damage here.
That Alodai, I don't know if he really needed it, but...
That's good if he doesn't need it, and it's already in the BreakZone. That's one less card for him to draw that he probably won't be able to play, or doesn't want to play. It looks like...
might be the Sarah.
Colin looks like he's going to be playing into... Oh, he's pitching that Orphan into the Sarah. He's going to force Okimoto here to discard a card.
He's keeping his foot on the pedal or gas pedal right now.
He is. I don't think that Okimoto wants to discard any of those cards. He's made his plays so efficient, and he's already gotten rid of that lock in the BreakZone to play that Duke Larg. Oh, he's going to get rid of that wall. It's been doing so well for him. Play right into a flan, activate the flan. He's going to go ahead and discard yet another card.
Goodness, that is a lot.
Colin is just pressing that advantage.
Okimoto's not that far behind.
Okimoto here to do something, and Okimoto pulls right into a Shantoto, and that's exactly what he needed to do at this point. Now he's up 4 backups to Colin's 2, saving himself a little bit, but he still has a Devout. I'm assuming his Devout's going to come out next turn to crack into a wall. He's fine to discard it because that wall is going to come right on back with that Devout. Hopefully Okimoto can stabilize the board here.
I don't think Okimoto's that far down behind that.
No,
I think he's definitely stabilized the board.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has 4 backups right now makes that anything he can top deck, he can probably play.
He can probably play, and it looks like he might have caught Colin a little bit overextending here.
Perhaps. I mean, it wasn't too far down, so usually the general rule is that with Shantoto, you see 3 forwards, you definitely want to go ahead and you want to crack it.
Sid Reigns here. Let's see if Okimoto's going to use that Devout to his advantage right now, cracking into a wall. Hopefully he gets something like a Terror in his draw. Let's see what he does.
I think even just playing out a forward, he doesn't need to play out to crack that Devout quite yet.
Right, he can definitely wait on it because he's not taking too much damage yet, and he's just looking at the Sid Reigns. He just needs to go ahead and deal with this current Sid Reigns, and hopefully replay. Looks like he's got that Terra.
Terra's sitting at 8K.
Terra's going to sit at 8K. I bet you that Devout's going to get cracked next turn, and then he's going to be able to start doing a lot of things with with Wall and Terra out in play.
If I remember correctly, he might have pitched a Gapal early on, the Gapal for the Monk, meaning that at any given point, if things kind of stall out and Okimoto wants to go for the win, he can always crack the Devout for the Gapal, which has been a very popular play since, way back.
We'll see if he wants to press into the mid-game here with a little bit more of an advantage. But I like the fact that he's sitting on 4 backups. Playing into that flan. That flan is going to go and get rid of whatever it is in his hand. But it doesn't quite matter if Okimoto's already going to get his wall out from the Devout. He's going to go ahead and make him discard that card, which looks to be an Orphan. It's a very useful card here. He doesn't quite have the 5 ice backups, so it's not as bad. It's a very, very expensive card. He's going to go ahead.
He had 3 characters, I think. Shantoto counts for every element.
Right.
And with the Devout Duke and the Terra, actually playing the Orphan would have been 5.
Right, that's right. The Shantoto does count for every element here.
I think in the sense, it is kind of funny. So, Colin has to worry about running out of steam. He's sitting on 2 backups, but he's trying to really just keep going with aggression. On the other hand, Okimoto is sitting on 4 backups, very few cards in the hand. The 2 flans really hurt him. I think there were 2 flans. Is that correct?
There were 2 flans there.
So that kind of hurt him, but with 4 backups, you can catch up pretty quickly.
He can. And the board hasn't quite gotten away from him. In fact, looks like he's going to crack that for the wall.
Goodness.
Announce his attack phase, get in there, and try to crack... yep, there we go. And try to crack that Sid range and maybe get a point of damage in.
I don't even think he needs to go that far. Let's take a look.
He's going to make Terra Brave. And there he goes. Okimoto's on the board, pulling over a Sid on top of on the break zone here. Colin's going to have to do a little bit of work to get rid of that Warrior of Light there.
Most of those 4s are much larger than Sid Reigns. He's going to have some problems keeping the aggression going.
Exactly.
He needs to find some ways, but his deck should be geared towards doing that, doling forwards and such.
He does have a lot of cards in his hands, but not a lot of backups, so he's going to have to pitch some of these cards if he wants to get things played.
Correct. And I believe he does play Orphan, but the fact that he has just 1 forward and 2 backups is not going to help him towards that count of 5.
Yeah, he needs to put up another backup here and hopefully move closer into his mid-game plans. Looks like he's got a play here. He does have the Orphan in his hand, though.
But that might just not be enough, though.
It might not be. We'll have to see. It's going to be really hard to get rid of that Terra or that wall because Okimoto has been very clear of leaving his backups activated. That Monk at any time can be cracked to help give a little bit of a boost if Colin wanted to go for any one of these forwards here.
Right.
Looks like he's going to pitch down the Teus, play a Gastalian Sid. I'm going to guess he's going to grab a Setzer here.
I think we've seen that play a couple of times.
Yep.
Is he thinking of something else?
Thinking about maybe grabbing something else?
It should be Setzer, though, I think.
It should be Setzer. Setzer's going to let you get anything else you would have gotten off of the Gastalian Sid, assuming it's a forward. And it looks like Setzer, he's going to grab that Setzer. I don't know if he's going to play that Setzer. He might have to pitch a few cards in his hand to get that Setzer out on the board here. But that's definitely going to help. Already getting off that quick EX Burst, not EX Burst, Gastalian Sid to help grab another card. He is definitely winning on the card hands. He's matched Okimoto's 3 backups, but Okimoto has a very, very potent 2-card combo here on the board already. Both of these guys are very, very sticky with the wall out and with the Monk out too. Let's see what Colin does. He's going to go and pitch 2 cards. Looks like he's going to go and play that right away. He's going to play that Setzer. Looks like he's going to probably grab a lock or Celis.
Let me think. Lock or Celis? Well, in terms of what options Okimoto has, if he does grab a Celis, he could just have Wall give either himself or Terra Brave, and thus not really have to worry about
it. He's going to grab the lock. He's going to go for the
discard.
The discard here, which is a good play. Okimoto's only got 2 cards in his hands. I'm not quite sure if Lock is going to get through any one of those guys because Wall is going to give somebody Brave on every turn. If he wanted to, so he can always have a blocker out.
That's correct. But, I mean, if he still has that Orphan in hand, that could be a problem. But we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, alright. It's up Okimoto's turn. thank you again for joining us here as we give you live coverage of the North American Crystal Cup here in Boston. And on our quarterfinals of the top 4, both of these players have earned the right to compete at the North American National Championships. Now it's just about to see who's going to go home and take the Crystal Cup home.
So Terra has Brave, goes in and attacks.
He's going to attack. He's going to go ahead and flip over a
Sid Augustine.
That's not going to do anything on the EX burst end of it. And Okimoto's done a good job of tying things up here. Both boards look pretty even, with a little bit of an advantage to Okimoto due to the fact that he has a monk and a Shantoto that's going to be able to give him whatever element he wants here.
But Okimoto has to be very careful. If he's not careful enough, yes, his forwards are big enough to block anything that that Colin throws at him. But if he plays out an orphan, then all of a sudden any of the small forwards will still be able to come in.
And I'm pretty sure that Colin's going to push for that orphan next turn. Let's see what Okimoto does here. He's going to go ahead and play a Gastalian Sid. What is he going to grab here? Maybe he's going a Setzer of his own.
His lock is larger than the opposing forward, so perhaps he's going to go for the lock.
Well, it looks like he's going to grab the Setzer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's going to grab the Setzer, play it into a lock.
Yes, he needs to hit that requirement of 2 FF6 characters other than lock in order to unlock that ability.
He does have 2 FF6 characters with Terra as well as Gastalian Sid. He's choosing to go with the Setzer because it's going to give you another chance to get it done here. But if that orphan comes out, it's going to take a lot of points of damage here. It looks like, I believe, Colin's going to go ahead and make that play before he attacks.
So one of the beautiful things about Orphan is that as you build out your board state and you put on forwards that might not be the largest, Orphan's going to be able to make him
deal with that, right?
Yes, effective 1 point of damage per forward.
Right.
If your opponent doesn't play enough forwards or have enough forwards active as blockers, you need at least a minimum of 2 to get to just be able to deal with the Orphan, and additional forwards on top of that to be able to block any further
aggression.
aggression.
Looks like he's going to go ahead and play. It looks like, yep. Oh, he's going to play over that Genesis here. He's going to go ahead and Dole Freeze one of those.
Let's see which one he picks.
He's going to go and Dole Freeze the Terra. Is he going to press his advantage? I'm wondering why you would play the Genesis before the Orphan here. I would have played the Orphan, gotten 2 points of damage.
I think the Orphan is saving it for the final play of the game.
The lock's coming out, and Colin very quickly has made white the board here.
So take a look at this, right? So he has 4 forwards. If Okimoto lets enough damage through, doesn't play another blocker, then if Colin comes back and plays an Orphan next turn by drawing 2 cards, discarding them for CP, and drawing two backups
on the board.
Correct.
We knew Mono Ice was going to be a big thing here in the Opus 5 meta, and Colin has been able to be a top seed in the top 16 here, and he's moved over here to the top 4, and it looks like his deck is working very much to his advantage here. He still has the ace in the hole with the Orphan, and you're right. If Okimoto doesn't play into anything else right now, he's looking at Fatal on the board.
But right now, if Okimoto were to play out the Setzer, get the lock,
no, he discarded the Setzer due to the lock coming into play. Goodness.
I sure hope he's able to discard Colin's last card. If that last card is Orphan, it would definitely save him.
Right.
That's part of the ice math. You have to figure out how many forwards you can still keep around.
Well, right now he can't afford to keep any forwards around, though he does have Brave, so that's fine. He's going to go and swing, and I believe choose no EX first here. Gets Colin the 3 points of damage, which is good. Strong moves. It's a free point of damage here. You're not losing any board state because Wall is so good. He's going to go ahead and play into the Sid Reigns. He's going to go ahead and break the other Sid Reigns and make him discard the Orphan. Wow!
So he must have picked as a second one of the abilities on Wall. He picked Brave. The other one would have been 3,000 to adult forward.
Exactly.
And after that, pitted Sid Reigns, forcing the Orphan to go away.
Drops the Renoa.
And the board just swing right back around.
The board just swing right back around. Now Colin is not going to be able to attack because he will see fatal if he does attack into the Renoa. It's going to play the Duke Lark here to help him out a little bit on the defensive end. However, Wall is going to be able to make anybody go through anything. That is a great Sid range play over here by Okimoto. What do you think?
That's one of the reasons why. I mean, for a while, Sid Range wasn't the biggest deal, but he became really popular again in the Opus 4, and here we see dealing even being having a big effect on this meta as well.
Right. Let's get, I know this is a card that a lot of people have seen before, but let's go ahead and take a look at this Renoa for a lot of our viewers who haven't seen it or are not familiar with this card, because this card is a monster card, and it is a great card for Okimoto to go ahead and drop right away here at the perfect time. Both of these players are very, very good, and to see them be able to command the timing of their decks and piloting it is just really good. He's putting so much pressure here on the Renoa, and in fact, I would just block with that Renoa now. Or if he takes that point of damage and then the swing with the Renoa, he's going to get that point back. So Renoa gives you a lot of options here. Looks like he's thinking about blocking with that Renoa and doling out the lock to see if he has enough damage to push all the way through. But if he takes the damage here, it looks like he's going to block. If he takes the damage here, he'll be at 4. And then he can keep swinging with Renoa, but it looks like he's going to block. And is he going to try to kill something else here? He's going to go ahead and break the Genesis here, and he's going to dole the lock here. He's passing his turn. He's going to get to 6 points of damage here, and if he can play a blocker, he would be able to get to the point where he might have just enough to win. Though Wall is going to give somebody Brave anyways.
Wall definitely can't do that. If I were in Okimoto's shoes, keep a blocker up with a Brave ability. The second ability would be no EX.
Well, those guys are dull, so couldn't Wall go ahead and do 3,000 damage? And then Terra, if he just discards a card, he'd be able to wipe out that lock.
Discard a card.
And still be able to get damage in.
I'm trying to think about it. So the Wall would deal 3,000. After that, for every 1 ICP, he can deal 1,000 damage to dull forward. But they're both AK, so it would take a significant amount. It would take 5 ICP, which he has 3 of in his backups. But he would have to discard 2 cards to just take out 1
card.
No, because he can only use CP from one. Like, if you discard for 2 ice, then you can only use 1 CP, and then clears your pool again.
You are correct.
And you must discard another card to use it to get more CP.
So it looks like he has a play in mind here. He's going to go ahead and dole out his Duke Lord. He's going to go ahead and do 2,000 damage, I believe. Unless he's going to play... Oh, he's going to play Hecatontir onto the lock right there. And he's going to swing in for 3 points of damage. Keeping 1 person Brave, I believe.
He kept the Wall Brave, and I believe he...
and no help here on the EX Burst. And I believe he's going to go ahead and try to press the advantage here. Discarding a Setzer and playing right into his own lock. He's got 3 guys. He's going to discard that last card in his hand.
Sid Augustine.
Wow. Okimoto coming in here, just playing a strong last 3 or 4 turns. It's some good play right here. And just like that, Okimoto takes the first game here in the best of 3, the quarterfinals. Well done here.
That was rough, but I gotta say that the fact that he was able to force Colin to discard that Orphan really saved him.
I think so. I think
well planned out.
Sid Reigns actually came in and saved a day here for Okimoto, opening up Colin's hand, getting rid of that Orphan, and after that, it was just strong play after strong play. He saw the opening. He made sure to cover his bases. And dropping that Renoa right away just caused such a huge problem, especially on the defensive end here for Colin, because it's going to dole everything out. And again, Renoa is really strong when you have more forwards than the opponent has life. And especially when Wall gives things Brave, I think that's a really strong play.
Wall is just such an amazing card. It's doing a lot of work.
Yeah. What do you
throughout
think?
The tournament.
What do you think Colin is thinking about right now as he enters into this best of 3 match, knowing that if he loses this game, he's out of the tournament? How is he going to change the way he plays? Is he going to keep being aggressive here?
I don't think he made any wrong moves. I think everything he did was correct. It just happens to be that Okimoto was able to discard his last card.
Right.
And the last card would have won him the game.
I agree. I think if he were to play that Orphan on that turn that he wanted to play that, it would have been game over.
Correct.
So maybe he keeps his strategy exactly the same. And hopefully Okimoto doesn't have as many answers here.
Yeah. On same token, the fact that Okimoto was forced to play the Devout, he played around it, he adjusted his game plan, and he made the most of it and came out on top.
Yep. I love his Devout play. That was a strong play there. It was good. Both of these players are top players here in the North American region here. And it's just great seeing them battle it out, here at this event. It's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure watching them play.
I always love watching and commentating on high-level play. You just see all these lines of play, all the adjustments that players make,
Right.
all the play testing, everything that they put into the game.
And I really like the best of 3 format here that we have in the top cuts, because it lets you adjust, to kind of combat what your opponent's trying to do here. So looks like Colin's going to start off discarding a
Bard.
Shiva for a Bard here. And looks like Okimoto's up, going to discard the Kapal into a Monk. I'm pretty sure he did that the first turn last game. That Kapal is never going to see play.
Oh, wait, let's see. That changed up real quick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To the Scholar.
Into a Scholar.
The Walmart Devout.
Yeah. He's going to go ahead and try to move on ahead, taking advantage of the fact that he's at second, having an additional card so that he can get ahead here. But Colin counters with a Castalian Seed to even out the advantage he has being the first turn by grabbing a Searcher. Yeah. So now Colin's had the same number of cards here. And he's still keeping with the backup line. I like this play by Colin here. He's trying to negate the second turn extra card by grabbing a Searcher and still being able to go first. So he is going to be the aggressor, and he hasn't lost any advantage here. Is he going to press this, or is he going to let Okimoto play into his hand and then be a little bit more reactive? We've seen Colin before press this very, very hard. He might pitch 2 cards to play a 4. We'll see. Nope, looks like he's going to go ahead and be a little bit pragmatic here and go ahead and pass on the turn. Well, Okimoto's got to play here. He's going to go ahead and duel 3.
He duel 2 to play the Monk.
Duel 2 to play the Monk and pass this turn. No, not the
Monk.
Monk.
Monk Mobius.
Yes. He's going to go and play into the... Colin's got a lot of cards here. Is he going to continue this backup line knowing that he doesn't have any real threats here on the board? Looks like he's going to pitch that Terra, play into a Moogle here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and grab
The Sarah.
Looks like that might be the only card he can grab off of this, unless he's looking for something else. He's going to play that Sarah, and
You think he's going to play this turn?
I don't know. It's a good chance he might. You notice that when your opponent is building up backups, going for the mid game, if you go ahead and discard something now, it might actually throw a wrench in his plans, causing him to play things a little sooner. It looks like he is going... Nope, he's going to pitch that and play right into another backup, and just
Duke
like
Lark.
that, the Duke Lark is out, and Colin is taking a different approach this game, really building that backup line here, knowing that Okimoto wants to get into the mid-range, the mid-game here, so he's just preparing himself for that so that he has more options later.
That Duke Lark's going to make all of his forwards larger than all of Matthew's ice forwards.
Right.
So it's going to make it a little more difficult unless Matthew's able to match that.
But it looks like Colin's sitting here on an Orphan, but he doesn't want to play that because it's more of a reactionary card. You definitely want to use it to do a killing blow or to kind of dole and freeze out so that you can set up for a win condition here.
Yeah, I think playing Orphan as by itself is not the play that most people want to make.
You don't want to do that. That's absolutely zero value here.
But what he has to worry about is if he builds out too many forwards to try to go for that win, for that fatal, that fundamental turn, he has to worry about Shantoto. Right now, there's no Shantoto on the board. The previous match, Matthew Kimoto played a Shantoto earlier on to take care of 2 forwards. This time, he probably has one ready for later on.
I like the fact that Colin isn't overextending here. He got bit a little bit on that on that Shantoto their last game, and maybe he's being a little bit more careful here, trying to slow down, knowing that the Shantotos are on the board, building his backup, and hopefully his mid-game is going to go ahead and beat out Okimoto's mid-game.
All right, looks like that's a Jesse, I think.
Like we're playing a Jesse here, and Okimoto's going to search for a 7 character.
Trying to remember real quick.
I believe he's going to go grab a Genesis. Yep, that's right. He's going to go ahead and use that to grab a Genesis.
So now that you know that Genesis is in Matthew's hand, you're going to be careful about which forward you play out next.
Exactly. That's going to change the way they're going to play. And right now, it's kind of a game of chicken. Who's going to go ahead and act first? Both players are being very careful here, calculating almost about what they want to do with their cards. A thing that you want to watch when you watch high-level play is you want to see what cards are being discarded here and why, and it'll give you insight as to what your opponent is trying to do in terms of where they want to go with the deck.
It's 3. Is he playing another Sarah starter probably? I'm trying to think. What else? 3 or 5 could be Setsu.
No, he's going to go for a 5, and going to go ahead and play right into the Setzer. He's probably going to go ahead and grab a lock here because you notice that there's no forwards here. Is he going to grab that lock to start? Yep, he's going to start using that lock to start pressuring Okimoto's hand. And Okimoto's going to need to react very quickly here because he's looking at possibly two forwards here. Definitely with the Setzer taking out already on the board here, threatening damage zone.
If you wanted to, Colin could actually play the lock right now, but let's see if that's what he wants to do.
He's going to go and dole that board here. It's giving him 1 CP of ice. He's going to pitch the Celis. He's going to play into the lock. He has to discard the card. He's got enough 6 characters.
I believe that was an Orphan that went to the break zone.
Right, that was an Orphan on Okimoto's end that went to the break zone. Not too bad. He doesn't have 5 characters there, so
so yeah, I mean that's gonna keep going right now. We'll see what Okimoto wants to do. Johnny, battery. And so Okimoto is still thinking out his turn, looking at what Colin has. And there we go. Okay. 2, 4. And playing a Genesis onto the lock. Dull freezing lock.
Alright, so on Colin's turn to act. Let's see what he does here.
You could definitely attack with that Setzer if you wanted to. Duke Larg is helping him just get over every the other ice forwards that Matthew is throwing out there, which is so far just a Genesis. Oh, 2, 3.
Oh, he's going to play into that Sarah. He's going to have to discard that card. Or one of those cards here. Hopefully Okimoto has something that he can discard that's not super critical to him right now. He's thinking about it.
He has a lot of cards in his hand, so I'm sure he has some pretty good choices.
Solid Sid, which is okay. He has 5 backups, so. Though he could have used that to get a Setzer into lock of himself. He's got a few backups that he can break, so pretty sure that was his plan to keep that around. But that Sarah is definitely disruptive here.
I mean, while it can be good to fill out your back row, there are times when it's not so advantageous. In this case, the fact that Okimoto has all 5 backup slots taken up already I believe that he would still want to get Duke Lark if he wanted to match
Right.
Collins, or a Shantoto if he wanted to wipe
He's
the
in
board.
a bit of a tough spot, but it's okay. He hasn't taken any points of damage yet, so it's okay. But he's in a little bit of a tough spot right now.
With the fact that Colin has, I believe, 4 backups in play right now, or well, at least 3.
No, he has 4. He
He has 4?
here.
Okay, he has 4. Even if Matthew Komodo were to break one of his backups
He's
to...
going to press the advantage, right? He's going to try to press this board. That's an interesting move. Hopefully he has something in the back to do something. Maybe he's trying to suicide here into a Shantoto.
Well, he could also just break the monk and have something happen that way. So normally, let's say, oh, is he going to block with Setzer? If you block with Setzer, when Setzer goes to the break zone...
It's going to dull freeze the Genesis here.
Correct.
Oh, nope. It's going to go ahead and trade. And I believe he's going to go ahead and crack to get back a lock into
To his
hand. And he's going to go ahead and pitch.
Shantoto, probably.
Looks like there's a Shantoto coming out here. He's going to pitch one more. He's going to pitch one more, and right into that Shantoto. We've seen this happen all the time. When you notice when your opponent is suiciding one of their forwards and they play Earth, you know that little munchkin is going to come out and blow up the world.
Yep.
And just like that, Okimoto's gotten a chance to even the playing field here, catching Colin on a little bit of an overextension, and Colin having not been able to convert his board presence into damage, is now stuck back at square one here.
But he has plenty of cards in
He does
hand.
have a lot of cards in his hand, so he can get going again. This time he hasn't overextended as much as last time, so he's still able to continue to build his board. Now he's going to grab a Setzer into the Celis. If he plays that Celis, he can lock down a backup here. And he might lock down the Ice backup here, though Okimoto does have Shantoto, so...
I would think the monk would be a better option.
Yeah.
Unless you fear that Okimoto is going to search out something with Monk Mobius, I think being able to negate his combat tricks for a turn would be pretty good.
And he's going to go play right into the lock here, and I believe he's going to go ahead and end his turn, unless he's got 3 cards in his hand. And
Okimoto has to
go ahead and discard a lock due to the lock card, and Thaumaturge. Wow, it's going to be another card that's going to have to discard a lock and a Celis. And just like that, recovering from the Shantoto with 3 forwards and 2 discarded cards. That is a very, very strong play here on Colin's end. Okimoto's back to staring at 3 forwards, but he's going to bring out a wall here. Hopefully that's going to let him shore up the threat to his life from these forwards here.
It's going to be tough. I mean, wall right now is only only AK, and both Setzer and Locke are also AK due to Duke Lark.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh, into the Orphan. It is frozen. I think that's gonna hurt.
And that's
gonna be
one
some damage right there on Okimoto. No help over here on the EX burst.
And then he still has to discard on top of that. Let's see what he decides to discard.
He's going to go and discard that Sid Reigns. And he's going to swing here with the Setzer. No help here on the EX burst. And another one.
Ooh. Well, Colin no longer has to fear that... due to Matthew Komodo having a Scholar, keep in mind that one lock in the damage zone, and he has a lock in the break zone as well. But the Scholar will be able to bring one back if he wanted to.
Exactly, but I'm not sure there's much he can do here. He already Shantoto'd, and Colin was heads-up play here. Definitely kept a just-in-case thread to follow here in case that Shantoto did come out. He was able to rebuild and reload very quickly at the cost of 2 cards on Okimoto's hand. So, very, very strong play here from Colin on the previous turn.
This is really the strength of Orphan. You know, you put out some either utility or card efficiency cards. I mean, Thaumaturge shouldn't really be something that you're super scared of. I mean, the body's not huge, but it is a discard on a body, so it's not bad. But once you start putting an Orphan in play and Dolan freezing your opposing forwards, that's when it can come in for damage on top of that, and that makes him just as efficient as a large forward when hitting your enemy, your opponent. Yes.
Exactly. It's a tough board to look at here, especially with that Orphan out, because that Orphan, when it attacks, is going to go ahead and freeze that wall all over again.
I mean, at least Wall still gets to trigger his ability every attack phase.
That's true.
But it might just not be enough.
It might not be. Hopefully Okumoto can do a little bit of something here to even the playing field. But with that Shantoto already out in play, he's going to go ahead and crack the Thaumaturge because of balancing his attack phase. He's going to go ahead and pitch those 2 cards to crack his
Monk Mobius.
Yep. And what is he going to get here?
Terra.
Terra.
Is he going to do what I think he's going to do?
He might. He might
the Terra Special?
Terra Special and try to wipe the board here. Doesn't have enough.
He has 4 backups, including 1.
He's going to play that Terra and do those 2. He's going to
Terra Special.
There you go. Here's the Terra Special here. And just like that, Okimoto's been able to wipe the board here, and all he's looking at now is just an Orphan. So dangerous.
But both of his 4s are currently frozen, I believe. I'm trying to think. Was Wall frozen?
Wall is frozen now.
No, Wall is
now, but he's not
still
frozen.
now. But Terra is frozen.
Terra is frozen.
Because of the Setzer.
Yes. And Wall's going to go. He's going to attack with the Orphan. He's going to freeze Wall. Getting another point of damage here. Getting into that Mateus. Play into a Flan. He's going to go ahead and flan a Flan.
And he's going to flan a Flan a Flan?
Is he going to flan a Flan a Flan and get all of them out and just wait until the right time to go ahead and cause Okimoto's hand to just get crushed?
That's definitely a possibility.
Looks like he's going to go ahead and play Flan. He's going to flan. He's going to go
use the Flan discard ability.
Yep. And discards his card.
It has no hand left. This is going to be a little tough.
All he needs to do is top deck a blocker here. And then wait out another turn, and he can get back to doing what he's going to do with his 2 cards, with his 2 forwards in play.
He has to, at this point, when you're staring down a Flan on the opposing end, you know that keeping cards.
You have to play those cards.
Yes, either you keep 2 cards in hand to keep yourself from discarding the card that you really want, or you play both of them out. And you know, hey, sometimes you play against this card. You're like, you know what? You can't make me discard if I have nothing.
And that Orphan is very large right now. It is sitting at 10,000. So you're going to need a lot of ice CP to go ahead and try to crack that with the Wall Terra combo.
Let's see, Wall 3k. Well, I mean, if he does a wall with a Terra Special, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, if he does a wall with a Terra Special. Let's see this. He's going to go ahead and... he's got to play something. He doesn't want to lose those cards. He's going to play right into a Devout here.
Ooh, Devout can do a lot of work. I'm trying to think what options he has.
He can Devout into a whole lot of different things right now. He's got to get that out now. He's going to probably take the damage. Something else is going to get frozen here. Orphan is just so strong here. Let's go ahead and bring up that card for our viewers who aren't used to the new Opus 5 cards just yet.
I mean, Orphan sitting there by itself is still, I mean, he got what the effect out of it, you know, and he's still keeping the pressure with it, still freezing things, and it is definitely a big problem in Matthew's side right now.
Right. But he's not quite in the danger zone yet. He's only got 4 points of damage on him, so it's not super bad.
At this point,
go ahead and freeze that. Hits the Duke Lord off the top right here.
It's going to be a little rough.
To the Jill.
Ooh, and freezing both.
That Jill is just coming in here, and he's going to make a lot of strong plays here. Colin is just screwing in the rack here. trying to edge out Okimoto. He does not want to see those forwards here get activated.
Oh, two. Nope. Yep. Just deciding, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And, well.
Into the Genesis. No value. Everything is already frozen. You can't freeze a frozen character.
Correct. Okay. Checking which version of Bard it is. Plug his 2 cards. Let's see if there's anything he can do.
Okimoto's staring down at Fatal right now. He's got to do something.
He does have a Devout.
He does have a Devout. He can get a character out.
He also has a Scholar, which can get a card back into his hand as well.
He can, if the Setzer is in his graveyard, he can Devout a Setzer, grab a lock.
No, you cannot Devout the Setzer.
Oh,
Setzer's
right.
Setzer's
too big.
Yeah, he's 5 CP, and Devout will lets you get up to 4 CP back.
Exactly. He could Devout into a Terra, and maybe do a Terra special. He's going to go ahead and try to crack that Orphan here. And he does.
He does just that.
And he's going to go ahead and use his Devout here. Let's see what he does back. It's always interesting to read. He's going to go grab that Genesis back. And a little do-si-do here, a little taste of some medicine for you. Colin over here as he does a dull freeze himself. Things might have changed. Colin's only got a couple of cards in his hands.
But one of them's Flan.
One of them is Flan, but right now that Flan isn't going to help him. Okimoto's probably going to get rid of that card. He's got what he needed on the board right now, and he's fighting back here.
Flan, Duclark.
Colin has a little bit of time. He doesn't have any damage on him right now.
He's got a lot of time, but
he's got a lot of time.
I mean, at this point, I think whoever starts drawing more Orphans is going to have a pretty good advantage.
He's going to play the Flan. Is he going to Flan a Flan? No,
I don't think he had many other things that he could have done.
That card here and pass his turn, and finally
Okimoto gets to activate
his foreigns here. It looks like 3 points of damage coming to Collins, and he's able to give somebody Brave, so he can still keep somebody to block.
Let's see if this was enough to activate for Okimoto to not only activate his forwards, but to also activate his comeback mode.
Yep. It looks like he's going to go and swing here with the Genesis, and he's got to discard. And Colin's going to go ahead and take that point of damage. He's going to take the point of damage here as well. No help on the EX burst, and he's going to swing with Wall, and just like that, he's clawing back in. He still has plays in his hand.
Goodness.
Oh my goodness. He's going to go ahead and play that
Celeste.
and he's going to freeze that Genesis.
He's staring back Fatal now.
Just like that. He was staring at Fatal, now Colin is staring at Fatal. And this is a quick turn. And it all goes back to the last turn. Okimoto just coming out here with that Doom Train over on the Orphan, cracking his Devout to get a Genesis to dull freeze, and then playing the Celeste to freeze again. Getting through.
And that's it.
Just like that, Okimoto is going to go ahead and take it. And wow, talk to me a little bit about that match.
Man, I can't believe Okimoto brought it back, man. I was staring that down. I'm like, yep, you're in that situation. You got an Orphan, you got a Genesis.
You got an Orphan, a Genesis.
Everything's frozen.
He came back from the Shantoto. He came back from the Shantoto to reload his board the next turn. And usually when your opponent takes a Shantoto and then comes back, and it's like, wow, what else do you have left? But Okimoto put his nose to the grinder. He played perfectly. He made the right moves when he was supposed to make them, and he was calculating. I like that. It was such a good match.
I mean, just to tell you the truth, I watched that, and there was just so much going on. I'm gonna have to rewatch this again and again.
Right. Oh my God.
And learn from it. I mean, you watch these guys, and there's just so much you can learn from the plays and all the things that they do.
Right.
I mean, think about it this way: if I were in his position and I'm sitting at 5-0 or Orphan, everything is frozen,
I would Oh my goodness!
It makes
right.
it like the amount of stress and the amount of mental strain it takes on you is difficult.
It's
and
difficult.
It takes a lot of practice and playtesting and experience in order for these competitive players to really eke out every last ounce of advantage that they can get.
Right, and that was such a good play, and he was calculating about it. He made his play from the devout turns before, just waiting for that opportunity where he can get that orphan off the board, because Colin wasn't running a very deep forward line. He only had 2. Ice is really, really good when you're dealing with a small subset of forwards. It's able to get through, get around, and really, really, really put a lot of pressure on there. The battle between the locks and the discards, the flags and stuff. Okimoto, even having discarded, there was a turn there where Colin was able to crack forward and then discard 2 cards out of Okimoto's hand, and he was still able to claw back in.
I mean, here
Such
you
a
see
treat
this,
to watch.
and you see the synergy of a wall with ice.
Yes.
And this, what would we call this, the ice wall deck or something
Ice
like
wall,
that?
I don't know what it's called,
actually,
but
technically,
you know
hold
what?
on, wait.
You know what?
I got this. In loving memory of Rudy. That is the name of the deck.
Name of the deck, and it was an amazing match. Both players are such high caliber players. We're happy that you guys are joining us here at the BreakZone while we give you live coverage of the Boston Crystal Cup. And I think you just saw one of the best matches we've had this entire tournament. The back and forth between the two, the fighting back, the cool, calm, collected approach that both players are taking. I'm not saying that because they both played ice. Both of these players, are so good, and it's such a treat to watch as they pilot their decks around the pitfalls and trying to get their decks. Because I feel that both decks did what they were meant to do.
Correct.
Both pilots did what they wanted to do. It's just down to a game of inches here in terms of when to play certain cards and to set up, and taking that gamble 2 or 2 turns later, hoping that you're going to draw into the card that you need. It could have gone either way. He could have flanned the Glacia off of the hand, and he wouldn't have been able to deal with the Genesis. Fantastic play all around. Fantastic play.
The fact that he was able to get rid of that orphan when he was so far back, the wall plus the Glacia Lobliss was just a really good play. I mean, I'm really liking this deck.
I like it. And you know, I'm not gonna lie. We're from California. You know, Matthew Okimoto is a local player to the West Coast, and we are very, very proud of him. Well done. Proud of Colin as well. He played an amazing tournament and an amazing game. Both of these players are both going to the North American National Championships. I'm sure they're going to have the chance to redeem each other, redeem themselves, and play again, and many, many more matches to come. Once again, my name is JT.
And I'm Laurent.
And this is the BreakZone, and thank you for joining us. We're going to be right back with the grand finals, where we're going to see Matthew Okimoto take on the winner of the other bracket, and to see who's going to go home with the Crystal Cup. All right, we'll be back in just a bit.